Well, guys, the crisis is getting ready to start. This is kind of like your final warning. In fact, the crisis is already just the first parts of it are starting to begin. This is an orchestrated crisis. It was meant to come now. I'm pretty darn sure it'd have to be the biggest coincidence in the world if it's not. The magazine cover of the Economist magazine years and years ago said exactly when this thing was coming in 2018. And here we're on the beginning of it. We're not going to get through to the end of this year. I can't see it. It's going to strike just when they said it's going to strike. It's all planned. It's all orchestrated. And it's all about the money. It's all about the money. It's all about enriching themselves and making themselves much, much richer than they've ever been before. And a multitude of ways that they're going to enrich themselves from this. First off, they know when it's coming. They know when it's going to start. They know everything about it. And so they can prepare themselves properly to make a fortune on this. Because they've enriched themselves with dollars. There's $21 trillion out there of money that's not accounted for, that they can use at exactly the right time to buy up everything at pennies on the dollar. Right? So what they're going to do is they're going to create a deflationary event, and then they're going to scoop up everything, and then they're going to dump all that money into the marketplace, and then you guys are going to be left as the bag holders of dollars that are totally worthless. But there's more. In doing so, they're going to create a crisis situation, and then they're going to come in as the heroes that rescues us from the crisis. This crisis is not going to last long. They're not going to allow it to last long, and there's a reason for that. The reason is simple. That if they allowed the crisis to continue, the whole system would melt down into a situation that would be like a Mad Max world. They don't want that. They're not going to allow that to happen. Like I say, from the very start, they've been organizing this whole thing, and they don't want the world to completely melt down because then they would lose control. This is all about money and control. Money would be valueless in it. If they let the whole system melt down completely, gold and silver wouldn't be worth anything. Only food would be worth something. And they would lose control. They're not going to allow that to happen. Trust me. I totally believe, 100%, if they are orchestrating this thing, they're not going to lose control. Because if they lose control, then, and the world descends into chaos, then everything that they've done is meaningless at that point. They'll be in the same boat as the rest of us, and food will be the only thing that's worth anything. They're not going to let that happen. But they are going to create an orchestrated crisis worldwide in order for them to come in then and destroy the dollar and destroy all of the other fiat currencies simultaneously. They're all going to burn. The fiat currencies are going to burn, and they're going to go down. And you guys are going to be the bag holders. This is the plan. So what can you do? Well, I think we only got a matter of months left. And it's at this point, if you've got a closet in your house that you don't use, clean it out. Clean it out. And put a few little things away. A little bit of canned food. How much is that going to cost you? It's not going to cost you very much. A little bit of canned food. A little bit of bottled water. Right? Bottled water lasts virtually forever. Canned food lasts years. Several years. A little bit of canned food. A little bit of bottled water. This is what I'm recommending. And a little bit of, put away a little bit of $5 bills, just a little bit. Don't need a lot. $5 bills, hide them away someplace for yourself, someplace really safe where nobody's going to find them. Because if they find them, you've lost them. And your bottled water, and also an emergency kit. with Band-Aids and things like Band-Aids and emergency supplies for yourself. This is the time to do this. If you've made no preparations up till now, and this is the first you've heard of making preparations, this is a minimum kit that you need to put away in a closet in your house. And have that closet as your emergency closet. So when this crisis comes, and the ATM machines all stop functioning, then all these other people out there in a mad rush are going to go to the grocery store and they're going to clean the aisles. In a day or two, all the aisles will be cleaned. There won't even be a scrap of anything. They'll clean it all right out, just like a bunch of hungry buzzards, like a flock of locusts. There won't be any water. You don't want to have to drink water out of the back of your toilet. You know, the tank, the toilet tank. You don't want to have to drink that. So that's when you open up your closet, you've got your nice stash of bottled water in there. While everybody else is drinking the water out of the toilet tank, you'll be drinking your bottled water, and you'll probably have a little something to eat, to be able to have some canned food. It might not be a bad idea to buy yourself one of those little camp stoves that run off a propane cylinder. Might not be a bad idea. If you've got a little bit of extra dough and you're not doing anything with it, that might be a good thing to have in your closet too. Right? Because you can always cook up your can of beans, and you're sitting there and you're having hot beans to eat, you and your kids, and you've got bottled water to drink, and you might be suffering, but not as bad as the guy across the road who's got nothing to drink. Now, they're not going to let this crisis last real long. I'm figuring they're going to let it last about a month. They're going to let it last long enough to panic everybody, so that then they'll have the powers that they need at that point to implement the programs that they want to implement. This is going to give them power. This is going to empower them. This crisis that they're creating is going to empower them to open up the printing. Well, it's not really a printing press anymore. It's going to give them the power to push the button on the computer that's going to make billions and trillions of dollars. It's going to make a lot of money for them. I call it the great print. The print of all prints. Quantitative easing to infinity and beyond. What do you think that's going to do? And also social programs, because there's going to be so much suffering that this is going to cause that they're going to be able to open up new social programs that they want to get through. And new credit cards and stuff like that. Things like tax rebates. You think you've seen tax rebates now? How would you like to have a check come in the mail for all the taxes you've paid your entire life? Right? Now, so let me explain in detail just exactly how this crisis is going to work. It's going to work in two stages. The first stage of the crisis is the deflationary stage, and this is what we're entering into right now. This is the stage where economically the whole world starts to slow down. We're in it. It's happening right now. The slowdown. This leads to a very rapid, what's called a deflationary spiral, where it just feeds upon itself. Every time it spins around, it feeds upon itself, and the deflation gets worse and worse. It leads in the end to a stock market crash, and it leads to everything, all commodity prices just falling. And yes, gold and silver couldn't fall more. But at a certain point when panic sets in, people start to buy the gold and the silver. But cryptocurrencies, where does that stand in all this? Well, in this first stage of the economic crisis, which is the deflationary stage, cryptocurrencies are most likely going to take a beating. It could be a rather severe beating, but remember, this crisis is not going to last very long. It's probably only going to last about a month when it really gets into its final stages. Now, we're leading in. This is the lead in right now. It's happening right now. We're already in the crisis. We're in the lead in to the deflation. When the real deflation hits, is probably only going to last about a month before they have to step in. And how they're going to step in is the Federal Reserve is going to change monetary policy. That's one simple move is going to end the crisis. The Federal Reserve is going to convene meetings. They're going to do a reset. They're going to come out and they're going to announce it to the people. And at that moment, everything's going to turn around. Everything's going to turn around. So if we've seen falling cryptocurrency prices, if we've seen falling commodity prices, at that moment that the Fed does that, then we're going to see those prices bounce back, an enormous bounce back. What this is going to do is this great print is going to send prices skyrocketing, but it's going to do something else too. It's to lead into the second part of the crisis, which is the hyperinflation. And at first, when it first starts, it's going to start with an economic recovery like we have never seen. We almost, we come this close. We come so close to having an economic recovery when they were all a year or two ago. Remember when they were all saying, hey, we're in an economic recovery, and everybody believed it? We were close. We were this close. And who caused that was the Fed with their stimulus programs. Quantitative easing 1, quantitative easing 2, quantitative easing 3, Operation Twist. All of that money they poured into the system through the back door, through the banking system. Some of it filtered its way into the general economy. Not all of it stayed in the banking system, but it stimulated the economy enough that it brought us out of the Great Recession of 2008, and it created an almost economic recovery. Almost. So close. This time, the stimulus is going to be so much bigger and better because the crisis is going to be so much worse that's going to cause them to go into the stimulus measures, that the stimulus measures is going to be so much bigger and so much brighter that it is going to cause an economic recovery. Worldwide, it's going to stimulate growth. And when that growth shoots up worldwide, massive growth from this new economic recovery, what do you think is going to happen? New construction's going to start everywhere. Demand for copper is going to shoot through the roof. Demand for the industrial metals, including silver, is going to shoot through the roof. Production will be lagging behind. Mining facilities will be way behind. Prices on copper, silver, gold is going to go up astronomically in relation to the buying power of the dollar going down. So, this is the lead-in to the hyperinflation I'm talking about. It's going to take a few months of this economic recovery, and then we're going to see prices going up. Now, see, where an awful lot of economists get it wrong is they've been preaching that we're going to go into a hyperinflation for years now, and it hasn't happened. And that's because we've never really been in an economic recovery. We've been in a downturn, a very slow, stagnant period that we were in from 2008 that led all the way up to 2017. We were in a period, and when the Fed started to tighten, they ended that period. Look at that as a period in time from 2008 until 2017, and when we were in a quasi-economic recovery. It was like a almost economic recovery, but it wasn't really. There was the effects of deflation simultaneously. It was almost like stagflation. It was in a period where the economy wasn't really going anywhere. But we weren't really crashing either. We were kind of just floating along. That period's over. It ended when the Federal Reserve started quantitative tightening. And it's been getting worse and worse, and we've been heading toward deflation. Now, we would have had the deflation earlier this year. It would have started already. We would have been in it right now in the severe period where you need the beans in the bottled water. We would have been in that period right now if it weren't for cryptocurrency. Strangely enough, I believe that the Fed used crypto. This is my personal belief. You guys don't hold me on this. It's just what I believe, what I'm going to tell you right now. I believe that the Fed used cryptocurrency. I believe that they pumped it up so that when it come down, that money would be released into the general economy. So the Fed, they probably bought tremendous amounts of it. And then what they did was they basically pump and dump. Except crypto. It went up to, what, $750 billion there? And then it deflated. The air came out of it. Where do you think that money went when it deflated? It went into the economy. And this is why we had that little spurt of economic activity there that happened a couple months ago. And now it's gone, of course, but there was a little spurt there where we started to see consumer inflation, and we started to see all of these, and this is what's held everything off. This is probably some of that money has made its way into the bond market and kept the bond market from crashing. But now that money's gone. So how much money are we talking here that come out of the cryptocurrencies? Well, it's a $750 billion market. And now it's went down to under $200 billion. It's simple math. There's over $500 billion there that pumped into the general economy over a number of months. That's just like quantitative easing. If anything, it has an even more profound effect than quantitative easing to stimulate the economy. Right? And so the Fed's probably going to use cryptocurrency again for the same practical purpose after this crisis is over. Just another avenue that they have at their disposal to pour money into the economy. And believe me, they're going to pour it in. So if you're a bag holder of dollars, you're going to get slaughtered because the ultimate end value of the dollar is going to be zero. We're not going to be pricing things in dollars anymore. The cryptocurrencies are standing there waiting to catch the world's economy. But they're not going to catch it during this deflationary cycle that we're going into. This deflation that we're going into, cryptocurrencies are going to take a profound beating. The worse the deflation gets, the more beating they're going to take, the cryptos. Because the cryptos are going to take a lot more of a beating than gold and silver. And the reason why is, first off, gold and silver have established themselves over thousands of years as a store of value. It's what people run to when there's a crisis. Cryptocurrency, right at this point in time, is a speculative investment. Now, there's going to be a transference that's going to happen. Cryptocurrencies is going to go from a speculative investment, it's going to be pushed into being real money at a certain point. And a lot of this has to do with use. Bitcoin is setting itself up to be savings, to be a store of value. So these people out there who say Bitcoin is no good because you can't transfer it across the network, you can't buy a cup of coffee with it, etc., that's not what it's going to be used for anyway. It's going to be like your bank account. Litecoin, same thing, except Bitcoin is going to be the silver as a store of, Bitcoin is going to be the gold as a store of value, and Litecoin is going to be the silver as a store of value. Now we have these other coins. They're the coins that are going to be used to purchase a cup of coffee. All the way down the list. There's like 400 different ones. Now a lot of those 400, a lot of them are going to die. But there's probably room for at least 50. Because there's more types of fiat currency out there. There's more than 50 types of fiat currency out there. You got yen, you got dollars, you got British pounds, you got yuan, Chinese yuan, you got dozens of different kinds. So sure, there's room for many different kinds of cryptocurrencies as well. But what's happening is all these fiat currencies are going to die and burn, And this is all part of the plan. And what's going to replace them is the cryptocurrencies is coming in to replace them. And I hate to tell you, gold and silver guys, the reason why your gold and silver is not going to replace the fiat currencies is because gold and silver is not internet friendly. You can't instantaneously transfer your real physical gold halfway around the earth and have it magically appear in the other guy's hand or wallet. Well, you can with Bitcoin. And that's what people want. They want money of the 21st century. They don't want money of the 19th century. They don't want 19th century money. We live in a digital age. They want digital money. Gold and silver is not digital money. So gold and silver are going to remain as a store of value, and also they're going to remain as a commodity that's worth a tremendous amount of money. And like I say, we're going to go through this economic recovery. Gold and silver are going to be in short supply. So the priced in these new digital dollars is going to be rather high for gold and silver. I say rather high, I'm talking about immensely high. Gold and silver in their purchasing power are going to go up at least 10 times what they are now. Actually, gold's probably going to go up 10 times its purchasing power from what it is now. And silver's probably going to go up many times that again. Because silver's a super bargain. It's a super bargain. I'm going to tell you what I personally believe right now, that your two best places to actually get in on right now on the ground floor is Litecoin and silver. Physical silver in your own possession. These are the two things. These are two avenues that you should probably explore because this is going to be good. You know, if you get all your money, 100% of your money right now in the bank as dollars, you're going to get slaughtered. But not in the short term. In the short term, you're going to see this deflationary get worse, and those dollars are going to be more and more important in the short term. And that's why I'm telling you is to put away some $5 bills for yourself. Enough to get you through this short term deflationary event. It's probably going to last about a month, and when it's at its worst. We're already in it. It's going to disintegrate very rapidly over the next few months until we hit that 1 month period where everything's going to go crazy. Crazy in the respect that you're probably going to see some big banks go down, and you're not going to see your debit cards work anymore for maybe a month. Then they're going to come in and they're going to restore all of that. They're going to come in and they're going to bail out these banks. They got no other choice. And when they bail out these banks, that's when we're going to go into the recovery, because they're going to release the money. The money bombers, they're going to load the money bombers with sacks of $100 bills, and they're going to release the money on us. And what do you think is going to happen to the dollar? So your time to prepare for all of this is now. Positioning yourself, not just financially, but positioning yourself. Do you want to go a whole month without nothing to eat and nothing to drink? Quite seriously? Because some of your friends and neighbors might. You want to prepare for yourself, an emergency kit and other things. Just like those people that right now are hurricanes barreling toward them. And some of these people are in a fringe area where they're not told to evacuate. Like some of the people that are being evacuated right now, they're right in the leading edge of where the hurricane's coming. Not them, but the people that are on the fringe area. They should still prepare, because their lights might get knocked out for a week or more, and they need to prepare. There could be falling trees. Whatever. So this is the same idea. This thing is coming. It's imminent now. It's going to start very soon. You get a limited amount of time to prepare for it. And what does it hurt you to put a few $5 bills away for yourself, a little bit of bottled water, And it's not going to cost you very much either. I mean, a little bit of canned food. If this thing doesn't come, buy canned food that you like to eat anyway. If this thing doesn't come, so what? You haven't lost very much. But this is like insurance, you see. You have a little bit of canned food on hand, have a little bit of bottled water on hand. You can drink your bottled water. You might have a picnic next summer, and if this thing didn't come, you could drink your bottled water at the picnic that you stored away for yourself this winter. Say I'm wrong. Say it doesn't come. You could have your bottled water at the picnic, and you could have your canned food, eat your canned food, buy stuff you like, and your $5 bills, you can spend them anywhere, anyway, anytime. So you really got almost nothing to lose, you know? And everybody should have an emergency kit. So these are things that you can do right now to prepare for this thing coming. But I think personally we're not going to get through the end of this year. Because, and why I say that, the biggest reason is because the Fed's moving to $50 billion a month of liquidity that they're sucking out of the economy every month. And that is almost as much as they put in during the quantitative easing. They put in $80 billion a month. They're going to be sucking $50 billion out. But it's not going to be long sucking that money out like that before the whole thing comes down. I've often likened it to Jenga. That's that game where you build these little wooden blocks up into a tower, and then you try to pull the blocks out one to a time. We all know how that game ends. Well, every month that the Fed sucks $50 billion worth of liquidity out of the economy is just exactly like pulling a Jenga block out of a Jenga tower. We know how it ends. The economy crashes. And the way things are starting to line up right now with the emerging market crisis, the way things are starting to line up too with the stock market not having any energy anymore. All the energy's been sucked right out of it. a good day up now is 20 points up, sort of thing. I mean, the stock market's just floating along up there and it's ready to fall. As interest rates go up, well, this is all going to end badly. You guys, you got some time left to prepare. Toilet paper. Don't forget toilet paper. Get yourself a little bit of toilet paper. And thank you guys for listening. And we'll like and subscribe. And this is interesting times we live in, I'll tell you that. Myself, I got to update. I'm going to go ahead and get some dried beans, and I'm going to put them in a glass bottle. That's what I'm going to be doing as part of my preps. I'm a little bit low in that category. And right now I'm working on $5 bills. This last month I was able to get $40 worth of them to add to my stash of them. And I mean, you know, it might not sound like much, but you're probably not going to need much to get you through this thing. But if you got nothing, if you're going to be caught out there like all these other people who don't carry any money in their purse anymore, no cash, all they got's that stupid debit card. Oh, God, I hate those things. I really hate those debit cards. Seems like every time people have they've adopted it so fast. I mean, just a few years ago, nobody uses the silly things. Now every person uses them. I don't use them. I'm just like so mad about that. I can't tell you. And going to Walmart, I love Walmart, by the way. I shouldn't love Walmart. Honest to God, I shouldn't love Walmart, but I do. I get in there, and they got this whole big center section where everybody's going through and using their debit card only, and it's like they just scan it themselves, and there's no employee there. And they got this little area where they get you to go through if you're paying cash, right? It's like they herd you in there, and it's a big long line. You got to wait forever. It's just like they're penalizing you for paying cash, whereas the hurry lanes through, everybody's checking out, and they're just like, boom, 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 and they're gone. They're done with their debit cards and stuff. Oh, I hate the way things are going. with these debit cards and stuff. It really irks me. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you in the next show. Bye-bye, guys.